We're going to start off with a disclaimer from Bearable Traders. We highly recommend that you seek professional advice to determine whether trading is right for you. So, what is a tradebook edge? Well, a tradebook edge is nothing more than a higher indication of a probability of one thing happening over another. In essence, it means that when you enter a trade, you're expecting more than 50% of the time that that trade will work in your favor, therefore resulting in a positive equity curve. Now, your tradebook edge is unique to you. It encompasses all three of the trading pillars. Technology is one of them. I'll give you two examples, right? Let's take a trader who likes to be a momentum type trader. This trader is going to want a trading platform that allows for quick execution of that trade, meaning he or she probably wants hotkey availability to where he or she doesn't have to go into a montage and plug in numbers and press buttons, because that's all taking time. They would much rather have a platform where they can just press one button and their order gets filled or sent to the market and filled very quickly. They want a broker that can process their transactions quickly and does not take time. They probably want direct access to the markets via trying to get their orders filled at the most efficient price for a broker. Whereas if you're a swing trader or maybe even an afternoon trader, you don't need that quick access. You're happy with making trades overnight, analyzing charts, plugging in the numbers, sending in the order, getting filled. You're not too concerned about the exact price. You just kind of have a small range that you'd like to be in, and then you're holding for a while to see if that stock moves in your direction. But with that, both those traders need to have the technology that suits their strategy. And that's where your tradebook comes into play. You want to be able to codify that or identify those aspects that allow you to execute your strategy that are technology based. Next, which is something that I think all of us look at quite often, is the strategy, right? The strategy is pretty simple. What is it that you like to trade that gives you the profit that you want? That's what you're trying to codify. As you'll see throughout our education, strategy can be broken down into very different parts, and each one of those parts plays a key role in ensuring that you get the results that you desire. The next one is your psychology. This is the one that we here at Bearable Traders tend to focus on more, because it is the thing that is going to bring everything together. If you're trading a strategy that makes you uncomfortable, that you're frustrated at, or that gets your anxiety level up, you're not going to be able to execute it well. Sure, it may be easy for you to see. It may be easy for somebody else to take it and make money off of it. But if it doesn't fit with your personality or your trading psychology, it's not going to be the right fit for you. So you've got to be able to take into consideration those psychological factors that affect your ability to execute your strategy. When you combine all three of these, you're basically codifying your trade book into your trade book edge. You want it to be identifiable on a consistent basis. Every day you can see it. It's there over and over and over. Because if you have an edge that only appears once every month or 2 months, unless that is what your edge is, meaning you only want to take 1 or 2 trades a month, then you're going to have to refine that to where it's identifiable to the number of times that you want to see it within a trading day. It needs to have a positive expected value and profit, meaning that when you trade it, you expect to get profit out of it so that your equity curve is sloping in a positive direction. And then I think what's most important is that you're able to execute it with discipline, because not everybody can execute every strategy with discipline. If you choose a strategy that when you execute it and it doesn't work, get your emotions up to where you start to overtrade, you start to revenge trade, or you just cannot handle the feelings that the feelings that are going on while you're trading, you're probably not going to be able to execute it with discipline, which means every time you're trading it differently, which is not going to give you the results that you desire or give you results that you can back test or evaluate properly to determine whether that tradebook edge is what you should be trading. Which brings me to this. Every tradebook, when you codify it, when you put all the variables in there, this is what it comes down to, is that there will be a random distribution between wins and losses for all those sets of variables that you put into your trade book. That trade book is what defines your trade book edge. So it is a blueprint. It is a recipe. Think of it this way. You can grab grandma's recipe that she used to make cookies for, right, during Christmas, and she makes them so that they are just perfect and you love them. But you take that recipe and you try to do it and they just don't come out quite the same. That's what a trade book edge is. Everybody can use the same trade book, but it's how you are able to execute that trade book will determine whether that trade book gives you an edge in the market. And when we talk about a trade book edge, we're talking about you personalizing a trade book so that you are profitable. So what are these variables? There's all kinds of them. You have your trading tenets, your beliefs in trading, your trading rules that are in there, your risk management, your money management. But to kind of help identify what they are is, I'm just going to take the strategy aspect, as that's what most everybody's used to. So here's indicators. Indicators that a stock is setting up the way you want it. This is the criteria which causes you to look at that stock closer. You get excited when you see it. So you're scanning your screens, you see something that catches your eye. For me, I'm going to use the break of high of day here to kind of explain it to you. So I'm scanning my screens, bam, I see a pullback from the high of the day. I'll pull up that stock and I'll quickly look to see if it's got smooth volume, if there's some level 2 stacking, if the relative volume's above 90%, and if it's at a significant level. If those are there, then I'm going to look closer to confirm that I'm seeing what I want. And that's the information that I'm going to look at to consider taking an entry. Because a pullback could be something even greater. It could be a reversal, right? So how do I determine that it's setting up for my strategy? What I do is then I look to see if it begins to punch or move back towards the high of day. It's not consolidating, and there's stepped up volume or rising volume into that break. If I see those three things, then I'm going to take an entry at a specific spot. For me, it's at 1 cent higher than anybody else has been willing to pay for the day. For your strategy, it could be anything, but you want to identify a specific area or position that you want to enter. It could be a new 1 minute high. It could be a new 5 minute high, a new 15-minute high. It could be the break of a resistance level. It could be a rejection of a moving average or a support or a resistance level. It's up to you, but you want to identify clearly where you want to take that entry so that you can evaluate your trading off of that. Of course, you want to identify your stop loss. This is going to be, It sounds pretty simple, right? It's a technical level where the trade is no longer valid, but that stop loss can be different for everybody. One trader can be more comfortable holding a stop loss closer to the entry, while somebody else may want a wider stop loss at a different technical level because they want to allow the trade to develop. It's going to be unique to you, but you want to make sure that you aren't arbitrarily placing stop losses. You want it at some technical level. Then, of course, you want to identify where you're looking to remove a portion of your position. It can be moving averages, it can be dollar levels, it could be resistance levels, it could be pivot levels. There's many different areas, but you want to be able to identify what those are. And the reason that you want to be able to identify what those are is because you want to be able to test your trade book edge out to see if it does truly provide you with an ability to make money in the market. So how do we do that? Right? You got to look at this in two different aspects of trading. The first being the science of trading. When you start out as a new trader, this is where you begin. It's your starting point. You look at trading as a process that has been developed by others. If I just started trading, I'm taking somebody else's trade book or strategy or plan, and I'm saying, I'm going to try and mimic this. If A happens and B happens, then I'm going to do C. That's that science of trading, right? Think about it in terms of your profession that you're accustomed to. You get the new employee, you get the new member, and they have the resident knowledge to do the job, but they're not going to be able to do it in a proficient manner like somebody that's been around for 2 or 3 years, because that 2 or 3 years of experience allows them to develop and understand how to apply the process in a more efficient manner. And it's the same with trading. Eventually, you're going to move from this science of trading, right, where if A happens and B happens, then I'm going to do C, to the art of trading. It's going to take time in front of the screen to do this. Thousands and thousands of trades, thousands of hours of just sitting in a chair, watching the market and understanding what you're seeing. Your brain is processing that information, even though you may not think it is. It's seeing those patterns over and over, and your brain is recognizing them and it's processing the information to what it sees. This is where trading starts to become unique to you, right? Because A can happen and B can happen, but then you're not necessarily going to do C because something's telling you it just is not looking right. There's just something that's not right, so you don't take the trade. And it may work out, it may not work out, but that gut feeling or that instinct that you have, or that knot in your gut, is just like, I'm not willing to put the risk on for this trade because there's just something that doesn't seem right. You get that. That's the art of trading. It's how experienced traders can get into the trade when everything's looking like positive, and then all of a sudden this just isn't right, and they exit their position right before the stock dumps. Or they get into a position right before the stock goes in their direction. It's because it's that experience of them being able to see everything that's going on those screens and the brain just processing it very, very quickly. So to help you get to that, right, or to determine whether your edge is right for you, we got to have some type of method that will allow us to test these different types of variables so that we can begin to go from the science of trading to the art of trading. The science of trading, if you think about it, is testing and determining and analyzing and looking and convincing yourself that the things that you're looking at are the things that you need to be looking at. And there's a method for that you're probably pretty familiar with, and that's the scientific method, right? You simply take a problem, you create a hypothesis of why that problem's occurring and how it can be fixed. You then gather some information, you do some type of test, and then you draw a conclusion and you redefine that hypothesis, right? Until you get the results that you're looking for. Well, we can take the same methodology of the scientific method and apply it to trading. Instead of defining the problem, because really every one of us has the exact same problem, right? We want to trade a strategy that gives us money. In order to do that, we have to observe chart patterns. And what you want to do in the beginning is you want to be able to find some pattern that you can recognize easily, that your mind recognizes, that you don't have to work at trying to see. It just appears and you see it. Certain traders are going to see certain things that other traders can't. And it's just the way the market happens. From there, you create a hypothesis, right? If I see this pattern and I see A, B, C, and D occur, then I'm going to take X, right? That's a hypothesis because you now believe that if you do A, B, C, and D, X is going to occur and make you money. That's your hypothesis. You then need to gather the information by doing it, right? And then you test it. And testing it, in a later course, I'll show you exactly how to test this hypothesis. And then you evaluate the results and you determine whether it is or is not providing you the results that you want. If it's not, you redefine it and you start the whole pattern over again. If it does produce the results you want, then you repeat it over and over and over and just continue to make money out of it. You can always refine it to make it better. But that is the process. And that's what we're going to talk about over the next set of videos, is how to utilize this method to test and refine your strategy to determine if your trade book is actually providing you an edge in the market. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at mike@bearbulltraders.com. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.